hopefully they'll be nice and easy for us to distinguish throughout the race. Now, Steve, would you like to run us through the qualifying times?
Yeah.
So, looks like we've got Keith Sharp on first there, followed by Neil Bamber. Oh, sorry, you've got it there. Sorry, I thought I'd lost you for a minute there, Steve. Go on.
Sorry. Yeah, Rob X will be 1 minute 40.5. Carl Cranswick 140.7. Vance Briggs 140.8. Gary Smith 140.9. The top 6 there, very close. Morgan Driscoll 7th 141.4. Josh Pratt 141.4. Duncan Roberts P9 1 minute 41.7. Joe McMullen P10 141.8. Ian Winchester 142 P11. Dave Devine 142.1 P12. Stuart Williams 142.1 P3. Guy Roberts 142.3 P14. And Tony Blenkinscott 142.3 top 15.
Nice.
And then from 6, Timothy Cox 16th, Josh Wilson 17th, Rob Noble 18th, Luke Grumman 19th, Nigel Easy 20th, Jacob Robotham 21st, Little 22nd, Trevor Davis P23, Daniel Ray P24, Martin Randall P25, and then we got the guys at the back of the grid here that didn't place the time.
And we're getting ready to go. And the race is away, Steve. As we were going through those qualifying times, it looks like we've got a fantastic start here from Keith Sharp, followed very closely by Neil Bamber, getting right at the back of that car there as they go into turn 1. Looking quite careful there, the front runners. Everybody appearing to look like they've actually gotten through there without any incidents so far. So Keith Sharp, followed very closely by Bamber, Exelby, Cranswick and Driscoll. It looks like we've got contact with Gary Smith dropping down the grid. Gary Smith, potentially one of the guys that we were hoping to see do a little bit better in this race, but it looks like Smith had dropped down the grid a little bit there as they now come through into the Graham Hill Bend. A long line of Skip Barber vehicles there, all in one piece as far as I can see, apart from those that we know have dropped off the grid. But this race, very, very tightly packed already with cars all over the place. We're already in 3 in a line there behind Keith Sharp. Now, it looks like Keith Sharp is pulling out quite a gap here ahead of the other guys, possibly, with Neil Bamber. Oh, no, Neil Bamber looking like he's going to be catching up there. Then with Carl Cranswick having a real fight there, looking to go at the inside. Is Carl going to make it happen there in the background? He has. Oh, no, Carl on the outside. We've lost Carl. Carl is now on the left-hand side of the track there on the grass.
Has he got damage?
He might have hit a wall there. I'm not sure. No, it looks like he's managed to get it back on the track incredibly slowly, though. He's going to hold up this massive pack of cars that are behind him now. Car 33 going to give him an absolute battle into the next corner. More contacts at the back. We've got at least 2 cars off there. We've got Rob Noble. Looks like he's dropping down the pack there, along with Stuart Williams as well. Tim Cox dropping down the pack also. Tim Cox is 17th, 19th. Oh, this is terrible for some of these guys. We said there was going to be action, and we've seen it already as we continue on now with Carl Cranswick leading us onto the home straight. We've got 7 cars currently in the pit lane. That is going to be that is going to create some real chaos when it comes to blue flags later on in the race, when we've got these front runners trying to get round. And as you said, it's quite tight. As you see a lockup there from Keith Sharp on the front right there, it looked like a lockup. And then we're going to go back to Carl Cranswick here in a 4-way battle with Roberts, Devine and Robertson also. So this is the battle for 5th. He's possibly got damage, but he's tapped him. He's tapped him. That's car number 69 possibly. Is that Duncan Roberts or Guy Roberts? I didn't see who that was specifically, but there's definitely damage on the front wing. That's Duncan Roberts. Unfortunately, has just taken that bit of contact. Is on the grass. It looks like Duncan's going to make it back onto the track, but now we're going to go back to our front runners. Oh, Duncan's gone back to the pits. Just heard that we're going to go back to our front runners here with Sharp, Bamber and Exelby following these guys. It looks like Sharp's got a hell of a challenge here from Bamber, and Exelby's going to want to try and shake off Driscoll so he can make his way up to the back of Bamber and try and take advantage of that fight. And they're going really wide there, Steve. Yeah, Steve, what a first lap that was. It looks like Bamber's going to be the one giving a lot of the main fight to Sharp at the front, but Exelby now really pushing Driscoll hard. Oh, they're incredibly close there as they enter the penultimate corner now. This is going to be tight for the entire race, I can tell. I'm looking at the track map now, and there is not a point on this track at the minute where I can't see a Skip Barber car on that track map. Wow, Steve. Well, hopefully, Steve, we're going to get a replay of some of those initial incidents. Particularly, I'm interested about what happened to Carl and Tim Cox. Also, Tim, one of the guys that we saw drop down towards the back of the grid there. Really unfortunate. Tim now in 25th. But we're gonna get actually the initial replay, I think, of Gary Smith. What happens here, Steve? Then
it's just a case of not giving the drivers enough room. I think it's a racing incident there. I don't think there's anything you can do. It's everyone's getting very keen into turn 3. We knew it was going to happen because the Skip Barbers are very narrow cars. You think you can go 3 wide, but you can never go 3 wide, and it's amazing that we had 7 cars in the pits in the first lap. Drivers have always got to know that tyres are going to be cold and the grip's not going to be there. That's why you don't go 3 wide in the first lap.
I think the thing that has been particularly clear already is the amount of guys that are just sliding around and using a lot of the runoff areas on the track, as we see Bamba there just using a bit of the grass or that curb as he continues to chase down Keith Sharp. Only 3/10 in it between these guys now. I'm hoping that this is going to be one of the big battles that we're going to be able to continue watching as Sharp puts it. Oh, we've got another car off there. Oh my God, that's Driscoll. Driscoll's off. Driscoll in the flip barber, as Tim would say. That car absolutely somersaulting off into the gravel trap, and that Rob Exelby. Then we're going to go back to that replay now, Steve.
Jeez, he lost control there. He just lost it. No contact.
It looks like the gravel trap was what actually turned him there, Steve. So after a little bit of contact, I'm not sure if that was maybe a netcode error that we saw there, or whether that was genuine contact. Oh, and that looks like Keith Sharp had a bit of a bad run there into turn 1. And he's now got Bamba still chasing him really hard all over the back of him. They're keeping it nice and tight. No, Bamba really hungry for this P1. Wants to put all of the pressure he can on Keith Sharp as early on in this race to try and put him off while he's still on this slightly colder tyres and heavier car. Now, I believe, Steve, we might have a battle here involving Josh Wilson, Craig Schill, and Nigel Easy. What's going on here? Oh, it looks like he's going to get down the inside there on Schill. Oh, he's got round Schill, sorry, and he's gone round Easy as well on the inside. Nigel Easy making it pretty easy for him. Oh, it looks like Easy's going to defend now on the inside as they head back up towards Graham. Oh, Wilson getting it done there. Incredibly. Oh, we've got one car off. That was Schill. That was Craig Schill, I think, that we just had go off there, Steve. So Craig Schill probably just getting caught up in the slow speed battle that was happening between Wilson, as Wilson did an incredible dive around the outside there, as it actually looked to me a little bit like Easy he took it easy on the inside there, did Nigel, and led him through. Now Bamba is currently looking like he's really sharp at the minute, Steve. What's the lap times looking like? 1:39.8 was the last lap time. That is I don't know, that's quite close to Sharp, who's got a 1:39.93 also on the board. So these guys are going to be pretty close. It looks like the gap might be opening up there a little bit. Now, Steve, in terms of draft on these cars or slipstream, is there much advantage to following one of the other cars ahead of you in the Skip Barbers?
Yeah, it's about a second. It's as long as within a second you do get some form of draft, you do get that extra bit of speed. But then, from what we were saying earlier, there's no brake lights. You don't know where the braking point is. So if a car slows down right in front of you, you've got to have trust in your own braking line. Otherwise, you'll see contact like we've seen in the first lap. But you can say here, this battle here between Pratt is very, very, very interesting. These guys are giving each other a lot of space and a lot of respect, which is always good to see in Skippys, that these guys will respect each other. There's no malice in here. It's good, hard racing. The only instance I think we've seen between these cars is when they go 3 wide, as we've seen the lap previously, a car lost grip there. These guys here are giving each other so much respect.
Now, I think we've had an accident from lap 1 involving Trevor Davis that we're going to slip over to now as we just move away from that fight we were just watching with Pratt. Now, here's Trevor Davis into turn 1, and it looks like, Trev's just turned it round a little bit there. Has he got on the brakes a bit too early, or has he got the braking run there possibly? Oh,
yeah, the driving line going into that corner wasn't how it's supposed to be. He locked up and slid. I think it's a mixture of things. He approached corner not exactly how you're supposed to approach it, but he'll be fine. He'll get back in the race.
It was a little bit dicey there, as it looked like he was just crossing that racing line as he was trying to bring it back on track. It looks like we managed to avoid any incidents there or debris on turn one. Now, I do believe these guys are due for a pit stop, and we've already seen a lot of guys that have been in the pits once. Now, I don't know if you know, Steve, but is that going to harm these guys having that double pit stop? It's going to put a lot of them really. Oh, look at that! Sorry, I had to just defer from my my line of thought for a moment as Mr. Pratt going incredibly wide there with Briggs pushing him incredibly hard now.
This is where the pressure really lies. It's times like this where you think you'd rather be in Briggs's position. Just wait for them to make a mistake going wide. We've seen it a few times, but the car goes wide. Keep the pressure on. The mistake will be there, and it will pass. But in terms of pit stop strategy, it's all about fuel and how light you can make the car. So the cars are naturally heavy with no grip at the start. We should see quicker lap times towards the end as they fill up. In terms of strategy, it could be anything. If it's me, I'll probably be doing, if it's a two-stop strategy, I'll probably coming in lap 9. You probably see a lot of cars going in lap 9, and then again in probably 15 minutes towards the end where you probably see the second one. But it's anyone's game with the strategy.
Okie dokie. Well, we just went to Chris Hall a minute. When we flipped to the live view, it looked like we actually possibly had just seen a bit of debris or something on the screen. Now, there's no damage on these cars as far as I can tell from looking at them right here. This battle, probably one of the closer ones that we've got on track at the minute. These guys separated by, Craig Shilter, to Chris Hall is only 0.4 of a second, and then Robert Noble behind, just trailing by 0.4. So we're actually going to switch over to Guy Robertson because there's actually a closer fight going on here with Andrew Bertie only a 10th behind, as Andrew now looking to make a move on the inside. And it looks to me like Robertson's just let that one happen. Maybe he didn't have the speed out of the penultimate turn. He's not going to let it go. He's not going to let it go. As we now go back to the battle for third place with Exelby and Pratt still fighting it out. It looks like Exelby's just managed to get it done there ahead, and he's got the inside line. Absolutely fantastic. Oh, they're going to be going side to side. Yeah, it looks like Josh is really, going to go the inside, going to take it.
He's got the inside line. He should make this stick. He should make it.
Still side by side.
Pratt will come back, and he's got the inside line here. This is great. This is great racing. Respect the two drivers. It's great to see. There's no contact whatsoever.
Now, the one thing we are going to see, hopefully, continued fight from these guys between Pratt and Exelby. Pratt sticking to the back of the gearbox there of Exelby as they round the right-hander there. This is a really easy place to get out wide. And again, here we've seen incidents already at this point of the circuit, at least twice already, whether it be one-on-ones or large groups of cars coming together. Now, they look to be very stable. Like you say, they're giving each other plenty of room, and they're racing close and clean at the minute. Looking at the front, Keith Sharp still managing to sprint ahead and not really worry about anybody else too much. Bamber still giving him a bit of a chase, but we're going to go back to the back markers here and just look at a couple of the fights we've got going on towards the back of the pack. So Gary Bacon, the first one that we're going to take a look at. Gary Bacon currently in a fight here between Morgan Driscoll and Granberg, I believe. Oh no, he's not in a fight, I believe, is he? Oh yeah, he is here. Yeah, they are fighting. Sorry.
Granberg's at the back. Yeah.
These guys have all been in the pits for damage, I believe, and that's why we're now seeing them as close as they are at the back of the pack here, as we see Bacon really looking to try and get a move in there. Everybody running incredibly tight in this little back marker hill. Morgan Driscoll, one of the faster guys that we've actually got involved in this fight. Now, be interesting to see if Morgan can run away from these guys and get out of the fight, because the last thing that he wants to be doing is wasting his time trying to defend when he needs to try and make back some of those places, I guess, Steve.
Definitely. This is where it's going to be interesting. If Driscoll needs to pull away here, but this is where the pit stop strategy comes into play. These guys have all pitted at the same time. It's whether later on down the race they're going to go with the undercut. How they're looking for pace wise, it look like they're matching each other pace for pace. The only thing that does go against their favour if they go three wide. I think Granberg's now falling off the main pack here. I think it's Bacon and Driscoll. They're going to take this away. Granberg just needs to get that. It looks he's getting it. It's an interesting battle between the three of them. I just don't know if they're catching up to Smith or not. I think Smith's just he's only 2 seconds down the road, and the pace of Smith and Driscoll and Granberg at the end, they'll be able to catch them up, surely.
Yeah, I believe that Granberg was one of the guys that we saw a few incidents from in round 1 of the initial Skippy League. Now we're going to go over to Wilson because we've still got a fight here going here. Wilson in fight of Robotham. Looks like he's gotten that move done, possibly. We weren't watching that when it happened. Now 3/10 between Josh Wilson and Jacob Robotham. Jacob still looking pretty fighty behind him. That car sliding all over the place with the the livery there on Josh Wilson's car, with including Gunther Steiner of the Haas F1 team. Now, Josh Wilson coming into turn 1 now, still being followed very closely, only a 10th in it. Oh, much wider there from Jacob. Jacob not being able to hold it in as close to the tight line that Wilson took there. Brilliant fight here, Steve.
These 2 drivers could like teammates.
Flying in formation at the minute, Steve.
Exactly. So, going right, yeah. I think these guys are very, very closely matched. So you're looking at Dave Devine at the moment. This is a very close battle with is that Saunders? Can I just say how much Saunders has done a Cranswick from last race? He started in the grid, I think it was 24, wasn't it? Now he's back up. He's up to 7th.
7th place. So one of our big climbers. That's 24 places that he's managed to gain. Yeah, and not to forget also, I think Andrew Bertie just behind him, possibly.
Was one wide there.
Also somebody that's gained quite a few places. He's gone quite wide. Yeah, as you just said, Steve. It's he's pushing the limits of that car, just trying to get through to just trying to get past Dave Devine. Now P1 and P2 having quite an interesting battle still. Bamber hanging onto the back of Keith Sharp. Bamber was not in contention for a top 3 spot in the last race, I don't believe. So if I just go back to my results from last time, Bamber wasn't one of the guys that we were tracking at the front of the grid in the last race. So to see him here really giving the challenge to Keith Sharp, who was our first place driver from the last race, it's really good to see Keith getting a challenge here from somebody we weren't necessarily expected to see putting the pressure on. Now behind them we've still got Exelby, who's dropping back about 9 seconds now by the looks of it. So we're going to stick here with Keith Sharp and Neil Bamber as the gap closes in to only 0.2 of a second, with Sharp looking like he's having to almost drift it a bit more. Now these tyres, you said that it takes a couple of laps for these guys to warm up. It still looks to me like it's Drift City out there.
Yeah, what they got to be careful of, if they keep going into the gravel, and as we've seen a car got flipped over, it's risky. If you keep going into the gravel, do you want to risk more time in the pits changing the tyres, or do you think you could, and then you need to create more warmth back into the tyre, or would you really keep the old set? I think we'll see a lot of drivers not opt to taking tyres. I think you might see them in the second stint, but definitely not in the first stint. Now, as we watch Bamber and Sharp, these two have always, for the first 10 laps, they've always been these two. There's been no one that's coming close, and it's been interesting to see how Bamber's getting very close to Keith Sharp here. Is whether I think he's just biding his time whether to make the move. But these two are fantastic drivers. Not even one single mistake. I think they've barely been off the pair of them, but very close. This is where we were saying at the start of the race with Timothy Cox there. Tim Cox letting the drivers pass off the racing line. The previous race we saw at Alton Park, where you can't see the brake lights of these skippies, that these drivers know well enough to let them pass. Otherwise, you find that they'll hit the back of the back marker. But as we saw, they went wide there. These two are brilliant at skippies, as you can say. They one of them went wide there, but it's sticking to each other like glue. Don't ask. I think Exelby with another 10 seconds down the road. I think they've got clear air in front of them, haven't they? This is where.
I would say that Exelby is going to be looking to take advantage of any pit stop errors or any accidents caused by this fight at the front, with them racing as close as they are. Now we're going to go to a pass on Saunders.
Oh, that's a lovely pass. Is he going to make? Is he going to make this? Reece Saunders, he's the pass master this week, isn't he? He's taking the Carl Cranswick title up to 5th. I wouldn't be surprised if he's on the podium, the pace that Reece is going in this race. What do you think, then?
Yeah, well, based on the performance we've seen there, if he can make it through the remaining cars ahead of him and keep chipping away at those times, then absolutely there's no reason why we couldn't see him right up the front. Now, we have seen in other races before it really come down to, the last couple of laps in some cases. I think we looked at the GT3, for example. Oh, there's Keith Sharp going incredibly wide into turn one with Neil Bamber now looking to take advantage of that into turn two, following him hard round the hairpin here.
He's done well to keep that.
Sharp has gotten away with it on this occasion. Bamber caught napping there. He really could have been on the back of Sharp if he wanted to there, taking advantage of that error, but looks like he just didn't quite have it dialed in. We're going to ride with Bamber now as he's still bringing that fight real close up to Sharp. Now, what I was going to say just before we caught some action there was, it doesn't always have to be the front two the front runners that are in the race, at the end of it, still at the front. We saw people like Charlie Bebb in the last GT3 race taking advantage of a lot of coming togethers and accidents and mistakes at the front of the pack, which allowed him to actually get on the podium in the GT3 Pro and Pro-Am race. So it could be that the likes of Saunders, Pratt and Exelby could make up our top three if Sharp and Bamber have a coming together during this epic battle that we're getting to watch on track now as we stay with Bamber in the cockpit. It doesn't look like he's struggling too much for grip out there. It doesn't look like he's struggling to keep it on the track. The car's nice and warm now. What would be going through your head at a fight like this?
It's patience. So there's a few times you think Bamber could he overtake? He's given Sharp a lot of respect, but we're almost at the halfway point of the race. You just think, when is he going to make the move? Is he waiting to get the undercut on the pit stop or the overcut? I don't think these guys are pitted yet. I think that's what must be going through Bamber's head at the moment. If I can just keep up with Keith, this is good points for him. If he can get into the pit stop strategy to take the lead, I think that's, if he's going to make the move, that's where it's going to be. But as you can see, that these guys are very respectful. They've got a wide there.
Saunders is taking quite an early pit stop by the looks of it, Steve. So Saunders, who was running in 5th position, now in the pit. So Saunders hopefully looking to get himself maybe a bit of clean air with this pit stop. He's hoping to potentially get out now. Oh, there you go. He's managed to have a reasonable stop there as he now comes out of the pits. Now, hopefully, Saunders will now think, okay, head down. Time to claim back those places, wait for some of the other guys to start taking their pit stops, and he'll have a clean run through to the front of the pack where he can start to bring the challenge to people like Exelby, Bamber and Sharp. As we go back to Keith Sharp and Neil Bamber now with only a 10th separating them, this is absolute nose to gearbox racing now from these guys as they enter the final section of the circuit. It doesn't really look to me like Bamber has got a route round at the minute, with Sharp just keeping him behind and not giving it. Oh, I've just heard some tyre squealing in the background. That sounded like we might have had somebody off, and I've just been told in the background that was Tim Cox. Now, he stayed on the track, but Tim, we'll have to have words with Tim after the race, I think, to ask him how it went, and he can talk us through maybe just what the real cause of that tyre squeal was in the background. Hopefully he didn't get anybody else swaying. Oh, Keith's all over the gravel, and this is... Bamber's going to get it. Bamber's going to do him on the inside.
He's going to do it.
There we go. Excellent
stuff. He's taking advantage. This is the moment he's waiting for, is it?
Every lap, he has been watching the back of Keith Sharp as he goes into turn one. Keith Sharp, who we've seen a number of times make his way out to the left onto that gravel trap. Even if it was only a little bit in previous laps, he's now managed to get it round and get the job done. I think that was 13 laps, I think. Sean just whispered in my ear there that these guys have been fighting for. So fantastic work there from Bamber. Now all he's got to do is keep his head down, keep it real, and keep it together. Now these guys are still going to have a pit stop to be done here, but it looks like Sharp fancies his chances. He's gone for it. He is brave there, Sharp. It almost looks like Bamber didn't put up any fight at all, but he's going to move to the inside now.
Inside. He's going to make he's
not close enough. Not close enough. That's a real shame. I thought that Bamber might hold on to that. That appeared to be the draft.
Like a draft behind him, didn't he?
Much more so than Bamber had, though, in all of the battles that we'd seen previously. Now, Bamber didn't seem to have that good a run up on Sharp at any point. Is there an element of fuel saving that you'd be doing in these skip barbers?
No, not if you're driving this competitively. I think you have the benefit of the draft there, but I think as you see
a dive
Sharp
into
going
the
into
pits.
pits there, I think this is a good call for Sharp. Bamba's obviously putting the pressure on there. He's gone wide, and I think it's a good moment to go have a pit stop halfway through the race, gather your thoughts, get yourself back up to speed. Now this is where Bamba Sharp could shine really to get up to the. Let's see if the overcut won't work. As we cut here to look at Andrew Bertie.
Yeah.
This is going to be a good battle.
He's got Dave Devine ahead of him and a few back markers to deal with here. So we'll see what Andrew Bertie can do. It looks like Devine's actually done the dive into the pits to avoid getting caught up behind the slower cars ahead of him now, Steve. So the pit stops, we might start to see them start piling into the pits over the next few laps, hoping to undercut or escape any of these back markers. And it's just like the rest of the race. I'm looking at the track map now, and there is not a point on this circuit, Steve, where I cannot see a Skip Barber car marker on that track map. Now Sharp is still in the pits. Now I watched that pit entry, Steve, and I don't know if you thought the same as me, but that looked like an unsafe pit entry possibly. If it's not that, then I don't know what it is, because it didn't appear that he had any form of damage on that car when he went in. As I believe he just comes out. I think that was a 40-second penalty possibly, because he had a 120 stop there.
It must be a penalty. He didn't have damage as he went wide. He just went wide off the track. He didn't have any damage. It must be a 40-second penalty for speeding in the pits, which is just falling into Bamba's hand.
So, just looking through some of the Twitch comments at the minute, and I don't think, based on what we were just talking about, Steve, I think Bamba's not actually going to have a clue that Steve had that penalty. Keith had that penalty. So Bamba now will probably go in for his pit stop, thinking, am I going to be waiting for Keith to pounce on me as I come out of the pit exit? But that's just not going to be the case. And as we said earlier in this race, it really can be anything that shakes up the order of these guys. And this is already looking like it's going to shake up the top three for us as we go over to Carl Cranswick. What's happening here with Carl at the minute, Steve?
He looks like he's found his form from the previous race. He's climbing up through the field. He's putting on the pressure. I expect him to make a few these places back up. He's approaching the car of always. I expect that he'll probably overtake these cars in the next few laps.
So I was just going through the Twitch comments, and it looks like one of the comments here was actually Sharp or Bamba for the win, and unfortunately that might have been a comment curse, should we say, as we just watched Carl Cranswick coming into the pits for his stop. It's like we've got quite a few people in the pit lane now, in the form of Chris Hall, Gary Smith in there as well, Carl Cranswick.
Contact.
And
Contact.
Chris Hall, bloody hell, that is Sharp.
Sharp just needs to keep his mind and just get back into the race. He's obviously frustrated by that 40-second penalty, and he's getting himself back into the groove.
We're just going to go back to that, because we were just commenting on who's in the pits, and it looks like he gets a little...
that wasn't his fault.
Dave turned in a little bit there. They got a bit too close together by the looks of it. What do you reckon, Steve? No fault there?
Yeah, absolutely. That wasn't Sharp's fault at all. It was a racing incident. The Sharp's going to get his head back in the game now. I think you'll see him flying up the field. Be interesting to see if he can make as many spaces as Bertie and Saunders have. But yeah, expect him to. It'd be interesting to see how much of the time you can eat into Bamba without Bamba realising.
I believe Bamba, and it looks like Exelby also on the pit exit at the minute. It looks like we've just had Exelby come out, and Bamba also still leading this race at the moment as we just continue to watch. We're actually just with Martin Rendell now. Martin Rendell having quite the fight here with Dave Devine. Dave Devine perhaps just a little bit out of shape from the fight that he'd had a few minutes ago with Keith Sharp. That did get him a little bit, it did slow him down, did cost him a little bit of speed, as he still got Martin here, giving him a bit of trouble as they enter the last corner, going into the main straight. Now Rendell's going to head into the pits by the looks. He's going to give up the fight with Devine for now and head in to take that mandatory fuel stop that they all need.
Let's watch here. Exelby. He's got clear road in front of him. Bambi doesn't know that this is Exelby is in second place. I don't think Exelby will know what would happen to Keith's shot. Be interesting to see how he can take this. It pretty much be like a time trial for him at the moment. He's got he's with Josh Pratt behind him.
Just going to talk about P4 for a minute, Steve, because Reece Saunders, who we were discussing earlier, has made his way right back up to the front there. Now, he's only 2 seconds off of Pratt at the minute, which puts Saunders, 15 seconds off of Pratt at the minute, which actually, if Pratt makes a mistake in this race or gets himself into a fight with a back marker or another guy on the track, this could open up the door for Saunders, who's already had his pit stop and now can just cruise to the end of this race, of which we've got 16 minutes to go. Just looking further down the field at the minute, we've got Tim Cox in 17th at the minute, Rob Noble in 18th. Vance Briggs, who, again, one of the guys that we're perhaps expecting to take advantage of some of the fights as we watched him last time. He's, is that Vance that we've got? Oh, is that a bit of damage on that car number 37 there? Oh, that's unfortunate. That's not gonna carry you through. That's Rob Noble. He's not going to carry you through the rest of the race. Now, we're staying here for a minute with Vance. Vance was one of the guys that was following along, watching a lot of the battles up the front of the pack in Alton Park, and it looks like he's found himself in the bottom half this evening. Unfortunate for Vance, but hopefully he'll still be able to claw back a few more places from the guys ahead of him, including Tim Cox, Martin Rendell. We're going to go to Driscoll now. Morgan Driscoll, incredibly racy guy. We've watched him in a number of the other series, a number of the other races. Unfortunately, I think Driscoll was one of the people that was caught up in an accident in the Pro-Am race on Sunday for the GT3s. But now, Morgan Driscoll really giving it to Josh Wilson here in the battle for 7th place. So he's right on the back of that car there. Oh, was that Gary Smith or Andrew Bertie? That was, was it Bertie or Bacon? Just going wide in the background. Oh, lots of cars going wide in the background there. Really, really lots of tyre smoke we're seeing pluming up on the track as well. So here is Andrew Bertie, the car that we saw a minute ago going particularly deep on the exit of turn 2. Now, he's following this battle with Driscoll really closely. Now, Driscoll and Wilson side by side with Bertie behind, hoping to pick up the pieces potentially, as Driscoll's got the job done. And Wilson now almost just kind of letting it happen, but Bertie thinking, I want a piece of that action too.
He's going to make it. He should make that stick.
And he's done it.
He does. He's
fantastic.
This is great driving. Also, no contact. Full respect. Going past. Be interesting to see how if Bertie then can catch up Driscoll in front of him. Because seeing how many places Bertie and Saunders, especially, how many places they've climbed during this race, it'd be interesting to see whether the past masters this week.
Wilson's under a bit of pressure from Bacon now. I'm wondering if Wilson's got a little bit of damage possibly on that car, or he's just having some rough laps where he's not really getting to grips with the track, or struggling after the pit stop possibly. But it looks like he was losing a lot of time now. Driscoll and Bacon, two guys that have just jumped into the pits now. Only 13 minutes of this race to go, so they won't be taking on a lot of fuel. This should be a relatively short stop for both of those guys, and they'll be hoping to get back out onto the field and start clawing back some places as we enter the final stages of this race. Bamber and X will be still our front two, with Pratt following in third, followed by Saunders, Sharp, Devine, Bertie, Wilson, Robertson and Granberg in 10th. Carl Cranswick in 12th at the moment. Carl, one of the guys that we were hoping to see claw a few places back and give us a real performance tonight. Carl Cranswick in the gold car number 57 there. As you see, he's down 8, I believe, at the moment, compared to the stunning start that he had made in the last race. Now, he's under pressure from Martin Rendell. Martin Rendell only 4 tenths behind him. Martin Rendell's looked incredibly racy at points here. We have just seen Martin come for a pit stop in the last few laps, so he might be a little bit heavier on fuel than Carl, who has taken fuel already, or he's had that pit stop for a bit of motion lotion before we saw this battle ensuing. Now, Carl looking very drifty there, with actually Rendell looking like the tidier car as they enter that.
Pressure on here, isn't he, Nick?
He is, yeah.
The pressure.
What do you think, Steve? A move here into the last few quarters?
It definitely. Cranswick, for some reasons, Wilson Cranswick, getting them confused with Wilson. They got similar looking cars. It's interesting. I think what's going to happen here, I think Rendell is just going to bide his time, wait for that mistake, because it can easily be done with the Skippys. You just get fall off the racing line, you might lose a little bit of grit. But Cranswick's doing a real good job here keeping him at bay.
There's a couple of we're going to go to Saunders in a minute, but these guys still looking really, really racy. Only 2/10 between these guys at the minute, Steve. I think we've got a replay here. Let's just have a quick replay of Pratt going off track.
He's gone too aggressive there, hasn't he? He's gone too well recovered though, because you can easily lose that in that gravel, and you could be parked up, and it's very difficult. You lose a lot of time. He went off there, but well recovered though. That could have been a lot worse. But here we go. Oh, is that Tim? Is his battle, or is Tim Cox letting him go by? Well, here we are. There's Cranswick. It's going to say Rendell's putting the pressure here, sticking to him like Velcro. These guys ain't going to give each other it. They're not going to go anywhere together. It's going to be. I think this is going to be this lap. Or the next lap, Rendell's going to make the move. They're very, very close.
Well, we can't wait to see that. We're going to keep following this now, and I'm just going to give a quick shout out. Actually, no, I'm not going to give a shout out because here it is. He's got it done. Rendell and Carl giving him plenty of space there on the outside, but he's going to stay really close into the back of Rendell here.
Is he going to let him go? Ooh. He's going to let him go. I think the move's done. Rendell's gone.
Now Rendell going to hopefully prance off and put a bit of distance between him and Carl, but Carl still got the slipstream here, still got the draft, so he's going to be able to hang on to the back of Rendell possibly. The only thing that might hurt Carl here is a little bit is the fact that Rendell's line just appears to be a little bit better in some of these corners. Now Carl is one of our resident Formula 3 drivers, so he knows the open wheeler well, but he doesn't know this one as well as Martin Rendell apparently, as we see him now entering the last corner. Rendell looking very comfortable ahead, starting to grow that gap. Now, these angles that you're able to see these cars from this evening are provided to us by trackcams22.com. We're going to say a very special thank you to those guys for being able to give us all the angles of the action that you're seeing here on the stream as we now watch Bacon in a fight here with Rob Noble for position 17. These guys side by side. It looks like the move not quite done yet, but
quite like the pits here.
Yeah,
what a way to join a battle. Leave the pits and you've got three cars in front of you going at it. I think it went wide there.
Incredibly busy track ahead of them as we've got what a guy on the inside there. Is that Granberg?
Bamber.
Oh, Bamber, sorry.
Well, Bamber, they need to let a leader go through here. Bamber doesn't need this if he's pulling away for the lead.
Now Bamber's going to want to get past. Yeah, so Bamber's now stuck behind Bacon by the looks of it. So Bacon going to have to get out of the way because, I mean, Bamber's not really too worried, I believe, at the minute because Exelby's still about 11 seconds behind. So it's going to have to be careful here, really, because it's looking like, yeah, there you go. He's got the job done and he's going to be able to prance ahead and not worry about what's going on behind him too much. So Bamber, fantastic races so far. Good to see him holding on to that top spot of the minute. Now we haven't seen much from Exelby or Pratt in the last few laps, but those guys still going strong behind. We're just looking on board with Pratt now as he's 4 seconds or nearly 5 seconds behind Rob Exelby, who we're on board with now as we watch him drifting that Skip Barber around, getting past some back markers who are being very kind by the looks of it and letting him through as he goes a little bit wider there on the left, taking lots of the inside there as he needs to.
Chris Hall
He's gone past, is it?
Yeah, I think if there's a livery competition, Chris Hall might be in competition for win that. It's a very unique livery and it helps us commentators out. So thank you, Chris, for a great livery. As you can see here.
We've got quite a few of these various very individual liveries. We've seen Tim Cox with that Jaguar HSBC style livery on, and we've seen the Gunther Steiner on the side of Wilson's car. So yeah, plenty of decoration to talk about throughout this race. Now we're going to go over to Cranswick again because Cranswick's still in a fight here with Rendell, and in fact it looks to me like he's ahead of Rendell, so I'm not sure what happened to Martin Rendell, who was very comfortably ahead of Cranswick before this. I'm sure that Sean will give us a replay of that in a couple of minutes' time, but Martin Rendell will be looking to just get the move done again, basically. So we're going to slip back to that replay just now. So Carl looks like he managed to get the job done. Is that Graham Hillband he's got in there? Yeah. fantastic
Graham Hill
work.
Bend that was.
He's got it done on the inside now. I don't know if Rendell had a particularly slow exit out of turn 2 possibly, or made a mistake that allowed Carl to claim that time back and get the move done. Now Carl's going to want to hold on to this because we've only got 6.5 minutes of this race left over, and Rendell's going to be thinking that's 6 minutes of get out my way, Carl. I do not want you in front of me. I've had that place once already. Give it back. Now
He's going to go to the inside. It's going to be interesting though. For the last 5 minutes, how the state of the tyres, it's quite, as we've seen, a lot of cars have gone wide as they slide in through the corners. There's going to be a lot of marbles off the racing line. Is whether they're going to keep the grip. So if you're in this battle, you want to make sure that you've got the grip on the tyres. You can feel them eroding away, and you're going to see the car feeling like it does in lap one. Lap one, the tyres are very cold. The final few laps here, you find the tyre grip would also give you that tricky stability on the track. This is where it's going to get really interesting again. It feels like that as Cranswick's made the move done, is he approaching a back marker here? Is he car 21?
Yeah, so it's Luke Grunman he's coming up to the back of there. So hopefully Luke's going to move to the side and let these guys through as they fight. Luke Grunman currently running in position 24 with the fastest lap of 141.17. That's actually the last lap that he did on this track, 141.17. So we'll see how these guys get round Luke in a minute, possibly. Looking a little bit further up the field, looks like we've got a couple of close guys running quite closely to each other. I think that might be Wilson and Robertson that are also quite close at the minute. Got Guy Robertson. We haven't seen very much from him in this race. And then we've also got Carl. Oh, sorry, that's the fight we're looking at already. Rob Noble and Andreas Granberg also looking like they're quite close on track at the minute. So this is what we were saying. There's normally at least 2 or 3 very, very close battles going on this track at any one point in time. As we now swap over to Rob Noble and Andreas Granberg, we're going to have to go back to Carl though, because it sounds like we've got some action coming into turn 1 as Rendell really now pushing Carl to the limits, trying to keep the pressure on and induce that mistake that we're all waiting for that gives us the action. Now, nobody wants to see Carl go off track here, but what we do want to see is Rendell really giving him the fight as he's having a look round the outside there as they head into Graham Hill Bend. Rendell or Cranswick, who do you think we're going to see come out on top?
That'd be interesting. I think these guys are very, very much well matched. What Rendell needs to do is do what he did a few laps back. Is just keep the pressure as he does now. The only reason this line's not going to stick, he's on the outside. He needs to find that gap and get the inside. As we've seen in the last few corners, Cranswick has gone wide. He needs to capitalise. I think he's going to.
Here he is, Rendell going on the inside here, and it's got the job done. No problems at all.
Yeah, I don't think unless Cranswick comes back in on the inside. I think Rendell's now made this move done. It's going to be interesting how the boot's going to be on the other foot with Cranswick now applying the pressure on Rendell. It's whether these guys can stick together now.
Just a couple of comments on the Twitch here. We've got IR UK Chris Eddy. That's Chris Eddy from the team at iRacing UK. Rendell, really good track usage. I'd agree there, Chris. That does look like Rendell's getting that car around nice and tidy, and it's paid off for him because he's managed to get that move done there. 306 rally. They look so slidey, Steve. Yeah, I'd agree with that. 306 rally. Yeah. They absolutely are. The Cranswick going round on the inside. He's done it. Fantastic work. These guys trading places like Pokemon cards. Absolutely back and forth. No problems at all from Carl there. Getting the move done as they head into turn 1. He looks like he's always managed to keep it on track without hitting the gravel track. It looked like he might have been drifting a little bit wide there as they head into turn 2 now. Quite tidy. Looks like Carl hasn't quite got it tight enough, whereas Rendell's got much more of that apex than Carl has as they head into Graham Hill. Still very close between these guys. Now, this next straight that we've got coming up after the left-hander is the point where we've seen Rendell taking that place back a number of times from Carl. And we've also seen other people making the move down here as well. Let's see if the slipstream here is going to make a difference for Rendell, and can he get round car number 57 of Carl Cranswick? They're definitely close enough. He's closing in, closing. Let's see what happens here. Going for the inside line. No, he's going to back off a little bit, and he's going to let Carl have it for now. But there's only 2 minutes left, Martin. You haven't got long left to get this sorted.
Oh, definitely. I think the pressure is definitely staying on there. I think he's just got to wait by this time. If he can go wide again, I think what Carl's done here is learnt that he's gonna defend his line, not take too many risks, just keep that place and just keep Rendell at play. As these next, we've got a crack marker in the back there. I think it was Shill going back there, but here we are looking at Rendell getting very close to Carl here. What Carl needs to do is just close that door, keep him at bay. Like he's done, he's learning from what he's done there. So I think Rendell's going to find this very hard now. So he's going to have to go at the inside. It's just whether he's going to make the stick.
He's trying to pull the same move that Carl pulled on the last lap at the looks of it. Now he's on the inside. He's got it done. Carl's given him loads of room there as Carl takes a wider line and stays on the outside there. But it looks like Carl's got more speed as they come back up towards turn 2. Rendell's got to... Oh, and Carl goes round the outside. Martin keeps the inside on the right there. And now Carl's got the inside line for turn 3. And it looks like Rendell can do absolutely nothing about it. Now Carl bringing all that racecraft from Formula 3 here into the Skip Barbers, and he's making it work. And he's making Rendell really, really work for this position. Well, this is P10 they're fighting for at the minute. We've got similar battles ahead for P6 and for P8 as well between Robertson and Wilson and Bertie and Devine. We may switch to one of those in a minute, but this is the closest that we have on track, other than I think also Tim Cox, Jacob Robotham and Chris Hall. Further down the pack, all look like they're quite close for P19, 20 and 21. Now, 30 seconds left. We're going to go to Devine now, and looks like he's done it. He's got past Bertie. No problems there at all. He's only got to hold on to this for what I expect is another lap now. And what we'll probably do in a moment is we'll head over to Bamber. We might just take one more look at that Cranswick and Rendell fight before we do see Bamber round out the final lap. But there you go. It's incredibly close still behind. Now, I think you'll find that this is probably not going to be much of it. Oh, he's very close. He's gone off. He's hit the grass. I thought there was going to be contact there on the back of that car. There is. Nose cone's gone. Rendell has dropped back, and that is it. Over for Rendell. That fight will not go on. Now here's Bamber as he crosses the line. Neil Bamber, congratulations. Welcome to the Winners Club, Neil. That was a fantastic performance, and he managed to keep it in P1 ahead of Exelby, Pratt and Saunders behind. Saunders, who was chewing away time and chewing away places throughout that race, as we saw. Fantastic work from him. And then we've got Bertie also coming over the line. Brandberg, Schill. Oh no, Bertie, sorry, we just switched on the replay. My mistake. And it was going side by side with Devine. And then he's hit the grass. Devine.
He's got to keep it.
Bertie all over off the tarmac. That is a shame for Bertie. It looks like he could have had that place back from Dave. But now we've got Wilson and Robertson coming up behind. Now it looks to me like Bertie has got a bit of damage there, and possibly on the front wing. And Wilson and Robertson fighting very closely behind. They're going to think, I want a piece of that, but they're far too busy fighting each other. Probably. And then we've got. That's 3 cars. That's 3 cars off track, off the back of a mistake caused by Bertie on the last lap.
Last lap as well.
They are gonna not feel good about that. We're probably gonna have a few choice comments about that later on in the chat, I expect. That was an unfortunate incident to end on for those 3. Those guys, fights that we were talking about that had been going on throughout the race, and then a mistake from Bertie looked to have damaged the car and then caused it to make another error possibly later on in that last lap. We're going to try and get the replay back up for you in a moment so we can see that. Here we go. He's just lost. That is a shame for everybody involved there.
Open wheels, you've got to be very careful touching that white line. If you touch it, you can lose controls, but he did. He must be devastated. He made so many places up this race and then just lose at the last right. For anyone, it must be horrible. But for those 3 guys competing for some decent points, it must be horrible